Stimpy was like based on Larry Fine from Three Stooges. You know, he's like the woolly hair porcupine, bald, but he had woolly hair. And he was like, "Hey Mo, there's too much tinsel on the tree." You know, and it was just this silly, sublime, inert voice, but it was just something about it. So I took it and I sped it up for Stimpy because he was a cartoon and he had to adhere to the parameters of a cartoon universe. So he's real silly, you know, like, "Hey Ren, I picked a magic nose goblin." You know, "I picked them myself." And it was that voice based on that. Ren Hoek was a combination of various classic a-holes, you know, like a quintessential a-hole. And he was eager to be angry, and he loved being angry, and it was kind of psychotic. And he was south of the border because he was a Chihuahua, but he had a Danish name. So it was all over the place. It was crazy. "You like the same things I do. Boiled football leather." You know, it was all crazy, manic stuff. And you could get an aneurysm for doing that character. But yeah, that's basically where it comes from.
Thank you, Billy.
Oh, thank you.
Next up, Philip, do you still have your question ready? He's ready, he's waiting.
Nice outfit. Nice outfit.
That's a great wig. I'm loving the quiff on it.
Thanks, Billy, big fan. One of the most best things I ever saw you do was as part of a panel with some other voice actors. You read out scenes from Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I brought some of the script from Empire Strikes Back. Would you mind doing it in some voices for us?
Would you mind taking a gun and having it for lunch? No, I mean, I can't, you know what it is they stuck this script from Star Wars in front of me. This is like a, what, 2.5, 3 hour movie or something? And I said, "Have you got rocks in your head? I'm not reading something that takes 3 hours to read." No, I can't. They don't care. They don't care. I'm persecuted. No, but I went nuts. I was very bratty that day because they sprung it on me. And we had to keep doing characters, and then you had to change characters to something else. So most of the panel was in repeats for quite a few characters. And I'm getting, I have too many directors.
It's all right, it's up to you.
Well, anyway, but I mean, I just had to break loose. The idea of speaking in front of people and having live moments is that you can create something new. You can just kind of like divine around and you might hit something beautiful and new and perfect and funny. But to just read stuff. So I just broke out and my fellow actor, John DiMaggio, Bender the Robot, he joined me because he was tired of that. And we broke into The Sopranos. We were, you know, ad-libbing The Sopranos. You know, and it just became total anarchy. I'm throwing chairs around. It's like, you know, comedy has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know, and it's like you have to have a premise, a setup, and a punchline. You know, and we're, you know, just going mad with it.
See, I think that's one of those things, like conventions, once something happens at one convention,
yes,
it needs to be bigger and better and whatever down the line.
Well, everybody wants to co-opt that serendipitous moment.
I think it happened once at a convention a couple of years ago where they've got 6 voice actors of all different characters.
Yeah.
And then, oh, let's do a couple of scenes. And they'll have taken that and gone, oh, well, you know, let's do the whole movie. That'll be amazing.
No, that's too much. It's like if you had a TV show with 6 Jim Carreys. You know, that's like executive thinking. Well, if one Jim Carrey is funny,
Ace Ventura is funny. Let's do Ace Ventura's.
8 Jim Carreys would be really good, and it turns out to be a big nothing. So, too much of a good thing.
Yes, right. You've been told. Right, pulling it back. Space Jam.
Yes.
Obviously, guys, Space Jam. Like, oh, that's my childhood.
Really?
Yeah, like, boom. I went to go see that in the cinema with my parents, that kind of level. It's stepping, well, I mean, having such a massive character.
Yes.
That, I mean, at that time, literally everyone knew.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
amazing. It was a daunting proposition because nobody's going to top Mel Blanc. And I remember when I was recording it, every now and then someone would open up the door and get their 2 cents in, like, he sounds too Jewish. You know, okay. You know, and then somebody else would come in and goes, he sounds like a sissy. You got to toughen him up, you know. Okay, thanks. He's from Brooklyn. you know, and then he's too Brooklyn, you know, all this shit. I'm gonna be like, shut up. You know, and I got to work with Michael Jordan too, Doc. The closest thing to a religious figure that we have.
So, I mean, this is a question from me who knows nothing about this kind of thing, but how did it work combining the animated side and the live action side together to get for the voice actor to work with the actor? Was it actually together done, or was it recorded and acted against, or what?
They filmed a lot of the scenes in a real gymnasium with Michael Jordan, and the characters were wearing green, so like a green screen and create stuff that didn't exist.
Please tell me you were one of the ones in green. You actually just dressed up as Buddy Green.
No, I was spared that green event, but the characters knew the lines, and they would just do them to Michael Jordan, and he would respond to them. I actually met him at the wrap-up party at the Warner Brothers lot, and everybody's calling his name every 5 seconds. Michael, Michael! And his agent goes, Michael! And he recognizes that guy's voice. And he goes, this is Bugs, this is Billy West. And he reached over like 9 people, you know, and shook my hand. And he goes, hey, Billy, yeah.
Because he's what, like 6'7", 6'9", something ridiculous like that?
It was like shaking hands with... He's big.
But, I mean, yeah, Space Jam, like, surely I suppose when you went for that, did you try and like channel original Bugs, or did you try and think, I'm gonna do like my Bugs, or?
Well, you can go so many different ways. Like the Bugs you're watching, how he acts depends on who was directing that episode. There were some guys that cued him up and wanted them to be charming or clever, but not like crazy. The early Bugs was out of his mind, and that was a guy named Bob Clampett who directed that. So you had to pick an era. That's what Ivan Reitman wanted me to do. He says, I'm looking for the 50s Bugs. You know, who was sort of like a real wise guy, you know. So long, Screwy. See you in St. Louis. You know, he had that wise ass, yeah, and then just regular sounding Bugs like, you know, the one we all know. And there's a final word. Goodbye.
See, have you ever had, I mean, obviously Bugs came off, it's amazing. Have you obviously watched the film, did you watch it and just be like, I love that? Or are there any bits that you ever watch, in any film, or any character you've ever been, where you kind of heard your own voice and been a bit like, oh, I could have done that better?
Oh, every day, every night. It's, you know, the artist's way is to sabotage yourself and watch your work and go, what was I thinking? Meanwhile, you put everything you had into it. You might be a little smarter or a little more, better adept at making choices, but you're not going to top what you did. It was captured for all time, and if people like it, that's as good as it gets. I pretend that I had nothing to do with any of it. I don't think of myself as the guy that did it. I compartmentalize. I would have to, because I'm too self-critical. You know, you'd crack up judging your own performances.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's throw it out back to the audience. Any questions out there? T-shirts? Oh, I believe that's a rebel symbol on your chest from the new Last Jedi. Yep. Better than 2020 vision. Love it. And then we'll come back up to Bite My Shiny Mount Lass.
Who can do the best? Why so serious?
Who can do the best? Why so serious?
If you what?
The Joker line.
Oh, I don't know. I never did any of those.
And I'm gonna be honest, I'm rubbish.
That's it.
Would you ever think about doing anything like that? That kind of like the newer, kind of darker stuff?
Trying to think if I ever did anything real dark. There was this new cartoon, I forget the name of it, but they had me playing this little creepy kid who comes over to trick or treat at somebody's house, and he decides to live there. Then they can't find him. And then all of a sudden there's this entity in the house. Who had a voice like this? You know, and he's like, trick or treat. You know, and it was like really dark and spooky.
I suppose while we're here, it's a very popular thing. Have you ever done any anime?
I Yeah, I did one anime thing. I don't think it went anywhere, but I did the pilot to this show called Uncle Grandpa. And I think that was anime. But, you know, there's a million things I don't remember. I can look at the IMDb and I don't... When? Where? I don't know. I don't remember.
I love that. I mean, what? It's more than 200 roles now, isn't it?
It's...
Which, yeah, that's the kind of where you're going to remember. Sorry, we've kind of gone massively off spot there. Best Why So Serious. I can't really do Why So Serious that well. I'm guessing you can do it better.
I don't even know. I don't know.
The answer is neither of us. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Bite my shiner at last, please.
Do you know when you was recording Meanwhile as a cast all together? Was it like, well, were you really emotional with it all? Because I know you don't really film all together sometimes, but you all sat together, didn't you? And filmed it all in one with each other.
Was that where they were trying to
It's the very
go back
last
in
ever
time
episode.
and hit a point where they can re-enter?
Yeah, the last ever episode.
Oh, and they shot Hitler?
When they,
The professor shot Hitler.
I'm on about the very last ever episode of Futurama.
Oh, the very final one?
Yes, when you
about
all did it together.
Getting old. I thought it was done really well. That's a nice way to end. I mean, everybody hopes, especially with somebody you love, you hope that you can, you know, grow old together and enjoy the simplest little things. You know, they're not even in space. They're just watching the sun. You know,
Yeah.
I want to do that. I'll hire a nurse, a young nurse, and marry her. I'll have somebody to take care of me.
I just know you all did it together. And you were with Katie doing it, weren't you? When you filmed your lines together.
Uh-huh.
Was it kind of a big moment for you when it was all over then, was it?
Yeah, because you know these people so well, they become your friends, not just co-workers, and you might not see them. You know, I do see people on other gigs, you know, because there's a camaraderie of actors that do almost everything. Then I see John DiMaggio at gigs, and I see Phil Lamar, and like I spoke about Disenchantment, it's a bunch of us that did voices on Futurama for this new show coming up. So yeah,
So it's essentially just like, oh, you know, we lost Futurama, let's just give them work.
well, no, it's
Let's
like
just make a thing where we can pay these guys again.
no. On the bright side, it's like when one door closes, another one always opens up. You have to believe that, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously quite massively, the Simpsons tie-in episode.
Oh right, that was
that was a bit of a kind of,
a crossover.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to sit there and work with the people from The Simpsons. And John DiMaggio, from the day I met him, he always thought that the character he did, Bender, was like a robot Homer. Kind of looked like a Homer, except a robot. And I guess somebody heard that and said, "There's an idea." You know, they were almost the same kind of person. You know, and it worked really, really well. I thought it was done great. I had so much fun.
Well, perfect. Right, any more questions? We are getting near to the end of time. Right, down at the bottom, do I have any more up there in the audience? Let's go. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll come down to you.
Oh, what a
Easy.
guy.
This is where I make a fall and hurt myself. Hup.
Yeah!
I know, it always is. So,
Do you like tea? And if you do, how do you drink it?
Do I like tea? Yes. Green tea. Straight. Hot. No chaser. No sugar. No nothing. No, I stir it with my finger because I'm so sweet. Tea's on.
and on that note. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've just about got time. We started it early there. So, please put your hands together for the absolute legend.
Thank you so much.
The amazing talent that is
Thank you.
Billy West!
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.